Hey, everybody. Hey, everybody.
Good afternoon. It is Thursday, June 12th. I am Bruce Leonard, and this is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. Still legal today, but getting more sketchy all the time. I don't know if you're following what's going on. Of course, it's kind of stupid. But today, they tackled and handcuffed a U.S. senator. I don't know if you saw the story or if you know anything about it, but it just happened a couple hours ago. Kristi Noem was out there giving a press conference in Los Angeles. And U.S. Senator Padilla, who is a junior senator from California, he's also the first Latino senator in the history of this country. And he's a ranking member on the Immigration Committee in the Senate. So you're going to tell me that Kristi Noem's never met this person? Anyway, that's what she claims. I'm sure there's many documented meetings that they've had together. But anyway, so she was out there in LA having a press conference. And he was in the building for another meeting. He heard she was having a press conference. So he goes inside to ask her some questions, because he said he's been sending questions to the Department of Homeland Security. He's not been getting any answers. So, which is not surprising. So he goes in there, and yes, Julia says she just saw Pete Buttigieg do a video about it. Yes, and it was a very poignant video, as usual. Buttigieg is a good, smooth talker. Anyway, so he comes in, he starts asking questions. And then immediately some guy runs up, puts hands on him, and he says, I'm a U.S. Senator. I'm Senator Padilla. And they're pushing him out the door, and he says, I'm a U.S. Senator. They push him out the door. And then when they get in the hallway, they put him on the ground face down, and they put handcuffs on him. Like a common criminal, with knee in the back and everything. Now, they didn't take him to jail, but... And also, he had his hands like this. He wasn't. Once he got out in the hallway, he was like, okay, and he went like this, and it didn't matter. They took him to the ground, put handcuffs on him. So then Kristi Noem immediately runs to Fox News and says, well, he just came in and rushed the podium, and he could have been an attacker or something. I didn't know who he was. And, like they all, I've never met him, even though he's the ranking member of the fucking, or maybe it's, well, he's brown and they all look the same to me, Thought he would, maybe we should deport him to El Salvador. Does he have a tattoo? He might be in Nicaragua or wherever the fuck they... but she's up there. We're going to liberate the city from the socialists, blah, blah, blah. And the people in the Congress, Lauren Boebert, whatever, this is an insurrection. Like, are you serious? Like, this is where we live now. Where a protest in the street of Los Angeles is an insurrection. But storming the Capitol... trying to break in and kill Congress people. Totally not an insurrection. As a matter of fact, those people should get pardoned. This is the world that we live in. I mean, I'm laughing, but it's not a good place. And I think that the Democrats have woken up, I hope, to the actual threat, which is a real threat. It's time, as I said, for them to stop pussyfooting around, fucking acting like everything is normal. It's not normal. None of this is normal. The Congress won't even stand up for themselves. You would think that the other senators and Congress people would be like, hey, that's a little bit, over the top, don't you think? But no, they're like, it's his fault for... She called it political theater, which is hilarious, because she's like, how dare you interrupt my political theater with with your political theater. Their whole entire administration is political theater. Why is it out of focus? That's their whole MO. That's what they do. It's all a reality show, but only it's fascist. We're way past. Like, I'm a conservative because I like small government and low taxes, you know, and like, we're way fucking past that. At this point, if you're a conservative, just admit it. You don't give two fucks about the Constitution or the freedom or your own rights, even. You want to give away your rights to this fucking clown. After the last fucking 40 years of my life, I've been listening to conservatives talk about how everybody's trying to take away their freedom. I've never seen anything like it. The internet and the COVID-19, like, pushed the world, or at least this country, over the fucking edge. Fucking RFK fired all the vaccine people, and you know he put in the vaccine plate. All the fucking people like him that don't believe in vaccines. There ain't gonna be no vaccine. There ain't gonna be none. Like, and the ones we got now, they're gonna try to get rid of, I bet. Julie says, I don't know about Congress and the Supreme Court should address this immediately, hold his regime accountable. Then we'll stop him in the next 48 hours. Our country is beyond redemption. It's all over for this country. To tell you the truth, I don't really know. It's like I've been saying all this time. It's like this system itself is too weak to protect itself from these people. Because once you disconnect, the only thing that's been keeping this country going, like I've said before, is that we all agreed that the Constitution was the ultimate rule and power in this country, right? And that the Republic, the way it was set up, that's how it should be, and that's how we're going to be, right? And everyone had respect for that. Even Nixon, at a certain point, he's like, all right, you got me. Like, and he walked away. You know, he's like, for the good of the country, I walk away. Like, Donald Trump doesn't care about the good of the country. You gotta understand that. Donald Trump only cares about Donald Trump. And that's one thing, but it's these people in the Congress that are even worse. If you ask me, like, they've abdicated their own power. They're nothing but nut lickers, rubber stamps. Today, they voted to claw back $1 billion from NPR and PBS, right? But the first time they voted, it wasn't going to pass because 4 Republicans voted no. They actually voted their conscience. And then when Mike Johnson told them that the bill wouldn't pass, they switched their votes from no to yes to make it pass. Because that's how cowed and like beaten dogs, I said, they are to Donald Trump. I don't know what he's doing, like I said, to these people, but they're in the bag. Because I said those people voted their conscience. They voted no, they didn't want to take the money. And then they said, oh, we don't have enough votes to pass this bill. What's up, Rob? And they switched their votes. I'll tell you everything. And then, like I said just now, they tackled and fucking handcuffed a U.S. senator, and none of them, all the Republicans, none of them said nothing. As a matter of fact, they're trying to blame him. Mike Johnson said he should be censured. He should be censured for trying to ask a question in his own state, in his own district, for his own constituents that voted him into office. And this is not the first time that they've arrested him. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, Rob. Welcome to the show. Yes, his name is Padilla. Uh, but like I said, they're not even going to stand up for themselves because it's a machine, and all the machine does is lie and promote their agenda. That's it. That's all they care about. They don't care about you. They don't care about the planet. They don't care about, they don't care about any of the stuff that most of us care about. They don't give two shits about anything except forcing their will down your throat. And it's working. It's working pretty good. They didn't arrest him, though, Rob. They just handcuffed him. They didn't take him to jail. They released him, and he says that they had a meeting, 15-minute meeting, him and Noam, after they released him, and then he went out on the sidewalk and did a press conference. But all the people that said, oh, you're hysterical about Donald Trump. You got Trump derangement syndrome. That's my favorite. You got Trump derangement syndrome. It's like, yeah, but he's like choking me to death with the fucking rope, and you're like, ow, you're blowing it out of proportion. It's like, yeah, he's got his foot on my throat. It's like, yeah, and then it's Saturday, they have that fucking Kim Jong-un military parade. I spent $60 million on that. I think I found some waste, fraud, and abuse. All that waste, fraud, and abuse they're looking for, they claim they're looking for. That's what I love is they say all this stuff like, we got to stop spending money. Like, do you know how much the DHS is just blowing money that they don't even have? They're already running out of all the money that Congress gave them, and they're just spending money. They basically have no budget. Like, they're just burning money. Because how much money does it take to run these operations all over the country? This is the funniest thing, though. I don't know if you saw this. This is true, too. Trump. I told you the other day, and I'm sorry I didn't apologize for the other day when the computer just cut out and I got kicked off the internet. I figured out what happened, but we'll talk about that later. So, I told you, Stephen Miller lost his wife to Elon Musk, and so he called all the DHS people, and he was bitching and yelling, why you only getting, 1,000 a day? You got to get to 3,000 a day. And why are you just going after criminals? Why don't you go to Home Depot? And so that's what happened. They started going. That's what started all this stuff in L.A. They started going to Home Depot. They went to an elementary school graduation, and then the other day I saw they started going to farms, and they were like chasing these workers through the fields. And it's terrifying, but when you see the video, it's pretty funny. It's like they're running. Anyway, so I guess the farmers and shit, like everybody's been saying this since the very beginning, but I guess the farmers and the hotel workers and shit, they got together and they were like, this is a fucking real problem. So somebody called Trump and he truthed this out today. It says, our great farmers and people in the hotel and leisure business have been stating that our very aggressive policy on immigration is taking very good long-time workers away from them, with these jobs being almost impossible to replace. In many cases, the criminals allowed into our country by the very stupid Biden open borders policy are applying for these jobs. This is not good. We must protect our farmers, but get the criminals out of the USA. Changes are coming. Which means they're going to stop fucking going to the fields and chasing all the workers. Who the fuck do you think is going to pick these fruits? It's good to see you, Rob. And hello, Questel. Yeah. Because I saw other articles where fruits and shit were just rotting in the field, so they were just plowing them over. You're like, shit, who's gonna pick these fucking fruits, man? No one. No one. The Americans ain't getting out there in 110-degree heat, fucking pick strawberries or whatever. They're not fucking doing it. Trump just realized this. Oh yeah, they got to deal with China. You know what the deal is? Exactly what we had before he started all this shit. You know what happened with China has the rare earth. You know, he's always talking about the rare earth. Right. We need that rare earth. Well, China has the rare earth. So when he did his tariff thing, they just cut him off. They said, well, no more rare earth. And they were about to run out of the supplies that we have here. And so Trump has to crawl to them and say, all right then, 55% to 10, which is, like I said, pretty close to what it was already. And we get the rare earths, right? Yes. And then he comes out, look, I won. I got the rare earth. It's like, you only got it because you had to completely cave and fold and just put everything back the way it was before. And of course all the nutlickers come out. Look, he won. It's the art of the deal. The art of the deal. Capitulation, that's what it should be called. I don't know what's going on with the fucking camera. Anyway. Yeah. So that's where we are. And that's exactly what happened. I don't care what anybody says. Of course they're going to lie. You know, all they do is lie. They still figure out some way to be like, oh yeah, he won this. He didn't win anything. And Chinese made him put everything back the way it was before, like I said. Because they already had a tariff on China. Vinny says at work today, someone said that we get 100% of the magnets that come from China. Yeah. No, that's what I mean. That's what he was saying. Magnets, we get magnets, because that's what was going on. China cut us off. They're like, all right, no more magnets, no more rare earth. And he was like, what? And it was fine for, what? This is like almost day 70, I think, of the 90 days. They said they would have 90 deals in 90 days. They don't have any deals. So, well, I mean, they got this Chinese deal now. But even they said that's not completely done because they said Z's got to sign off on it. So there's no guarantee that he will. I mean, he probably will, but I'm saying he could say no. But anyway, like I said, they cut us off the magnets and the rare earth. And then it's almost day 70 and we ain't been getting none. So the stockpiles here were running low. That's why he didn't drag it out to 90 days. Because, yes. John says, magnets don't work in the water. Remember that. Either way, I'm saying he's the one that ain't got no cards. So I said, you can threaten them all you want. They got shit we need. And without that stuff, you can't build the fucking military stuff and things. Speaking of, I don't know, well, I mean, it's not really related, but there was also another plane crash. I don't know, and it wasn't in this country, it was in India. 250 people, I don't know the exact number, but it's around 250 people died in the plane, plus more on the ground because it crashed into a residential area. It was a Boeing jet. Now, what the fuck's going on with a Boeing? I did not see like how old the jet was or when it was built, but Boeing It's not what it once was. Pretty awful. And one guy lived and was unharmed. That's fucking weird. Just one guy. That's the kind of thing that turn you religious. You're like, fuck. Hadn't been God. It's like, hadn't been. How the fuck did I survive this? What are you going to do with it? Right? Because that would imply that God saved you for a reason. So you got to get out and do something now. It's like you got to live up to it. You got to become a prophet or some shit. Just what we need, another mega church. Johnson, they're saving money on production. Yeah, exactly. That's what they were saying. That's when that door blew off. They were like, oh yeah, they supposed to be 10 bolts in there, but there's only like 6. Just like when the American cars. That's what happened to the American cars. Remember that when the Japanese cars took over. It was because they started getting lackadaisical at the fucking Ford plant and whatever. They're not putting all the bolts in and shit. And American cars started falling apart. And then the Asian cars came in and fucking took over the market because they didn't fall apart. They were built quality. That always happens to America. That's what's happening in the government now too. Push is getting lazy. Fuck it. Let's just have a dictator. You know, it's all too complicated. Freedom. It's pretty dark days. Really, when and you got to remember too, like today, that's just the highest they've gone. But they already arrested a mayor in New Jersey, remember, and they also arrested a congressperson and pressed charges on her. And they arrested that judge in Wisconsin. Nothing much seems to have come of that. Especially when there's pictures of him standing next to the ICE people. It's like, ICE was really trying to stop it. I'm not sure what seat he was in, Questel. I just saw that he lived. I was at work, so I couldn't read all the articles. Or my boss would be like, what are you doing? Sitting at the computer reading my phone. Yeah, whatever happened to the computer is jagging up this camera. My friend was right. I think I need more light. But if I turn this light on, it'll buzz. Here, watch, I'll do it for you. It's more light. But you can hear it, right? Or I can. Oh, Julia says she had her echocardiogram today. Hopefully she's find out something in a week or so. Good, good. Have you been feeling okay? You feeling all right? Hope so. See, the camera stays focused when there's more light, but you can hear that fucking buzzing. It's fucking annoying. I guess I need to break down and buy lights, right? Because I'm a professional. I say that all the time. I'm not really a professional broadcaster. Until YouTube starts paying money, then I guess I could call myself a professional broadcaster. But they ain't paying. They ain't paying anytime soon. So I don't know if you've seen a map of LA, but Trump's like, oh, the whole city's on fire, it's burning down. And Scott Jennings on CNN, oh, Gavin Newsom's talking to the city's burning. And it's like, and you see a map. It's like one little pin, the spot where this is happening. It's at a curfew, 1 square mile. LA is over 500 square miles. It's 1 mile where these protests are happening. They're like, oh, they're tearing down the city, they're burning it down. My friend lives like, on the other side of town. He's like, it's quiet over here. I don't know what you're talking about. It's crazy. And it's amazing that all those fires and all the damage that happened, and those people are still out in the street. Yeah, I give it to them, man. It's what's called dedication. And like I said, do you realize that right now there's more military deployed on the streets of Los Angeles than are in the Middle East? There's more than's in Iraq. There's more than there's 4,000 National Guard troops and 700 Marines. That's more than's in Afghanistan, or whether we're not in Afghanistan, but more than was in Afghanistan before we withdrew. You know what they're doing? Nothing. Most of them are doing nothing, laying around on the floor somewhere. I don't even know where. Some empty warehouse or something. There was pictures of them. They're all laying on the floor. There's like 300 of them out in the street. And they're all just around these buildings. And it's all a show. It's all a show, and it's also a way for Trump to, like I said, test the boundaries and push the edges and see how far he can go. And if you read the bill, the big beautiful bill, it's not just taxes and spending. There's all kinds of stuff in there, that gives the executive more powers. And that's what they do, is they distract you with, oh, it's about the spending and blah, blah, blah. But tucked underneath all that is the shit they really want to put in. There was a girl that was in the military. She joined the protest. She'll probably get court-martialed, but good for her. She said, we're not going to be used as pawns in a political, which is true. And again, like, I thought they said they were going after criminals. Like, they're not going after criminals. All these criminals that they're talking about, like I said, they don't exist. I mean, they do exist. Yes, it is live. I am live right now. Yes, there's criminals. I said, there are criminals, of course. There's not millions of them and all that. Oh, they came from mental institutions. Yes, Jubal. Good to see you. Yeah, they know. In Vegas, they were shooting tear gas and shit at rubber bullets last night. I saw it. I would have been out there if I was there, you know that. But I was not there. But yeah, they said that the police, they declared it an unlawful assembly, and then when the people wouldn't leave, they started shooting tear gas and rubber bullets at them. And that's what's going on everywhere, really. Yesterday, in LA, they were right by the city hall, and so the police pushed them back and up into this park. And the CNN guy was standing there, and they told the CNN guy, "You better move, you better get back." And as he was moving back, all these dudes were coming up with fucking rubber bullet rifles and riot shields. They were like, they're about to let loose on these people. They're pushing the CNN guy back so he can't see it as good. That's what's funny. They're like, we gotta protect you from this fascist. And they do that by shooting you with rubber bullets. It's like in LA, there's a big thing about, only the LAPD is really doing the police work. We're the ones just cleaning up the street. And so now they got to be tough. Because otherwise, Trump would tell the National Guard to do it. And they don't want that. So to protect you from the fascists, they got to go fascist on you. That's where we're at in this country. Like, well, if we don't hit you with these batons, these guys will, and we can't let that happen. Because then the republic is over. Julie says she saw something earlier that said it was like over 4,000 homicides in 2023 were white Americans and only 29 homicides were by immigrants. Yes, that's what I've been saying all along. That's why they just keep screaming Lake and Riley. Lake and Riley, Lake and Riley, that. No, they said it's terrible that she got murdered. It is. It's awful. And that guy, I don't care if they send him down to the Seacott prison because that's where he fucking belongs. But if these murders were happening all over the place, they would have more than one. They only have the one. They beat it over your head, like I said, like a dead baby seal. Just saying, Lake and Riley. Until you go, oh my God, this is happening all over the place. It's not really. It's just like the train thing. You're like, oh, there's one girl. This is terrible. It's happening everywhere. Oh yeah, where else? Well, I'm sure it's happening somewhere. Like I said, there's one in every state. Which technically means it is happening all over, but, you know, it's one in every state, so it's relative. Everything is relative, but not to them. You know, to the right wing now. I mean, I don't even think it's fair to call them conservative. Because when you say conservative, that implies like your grandfather or something. Like, they were way different. Like I said, they were like, oh, I'm a conservative. I want small government and like lower taxes. They weren't like, oh, I'm conservative and the white people are getting fucked over and we got to bring back Confederate generals. And these are white supremacists. The problem is a two-party system. Like I said, they convince you that Democrats or I'm not a Democrat, but I'm a left-leaning person, that I'm a communist and, you know, I'm the danger to your entire way of life. You know, because I believe you should have health care, you know, and the taxes should go to help people instead of like building bombs and blowing shit up, killing people, you know. I believe that we should feed, you know, poor people that can't eat in other countries. You know, I believe we should give them medicine so they don't die of diseases that's totally fucking curable if you, you know, communist stuff. I'm not a free market guy, you know, but they're not free market people either. Because I said they want to dominate the market. It's not a free market when fucking everything is owned by, you know, 10 corporations. It's not a free market. When all the big conglomerates are allowed to buy up, you know, anything they want and absorb it into their, you know, it's like, dude. It's an illusion of a free market. It's not a free market. It used to be. It used to be rules against, you know, that they couldn't get so big and they can only own certain percentages of the market share and all that. But they got rid of all those rules. All of this is a systematic dismantling of all the progress that's been made by liberal type people over the last 150 years or so. You know, after the Civil War at least. And through the 60s, you know, when they desegregated and all that shit. These people still believe in segregation. I mean, if you sit them down and talk to them, they're not around. You know, a bunch of people on cameras and shit. You can get them to tell you what they really believe. They would tell you that they still believe in segregation. That's why Borat was so genius, because on Borat, he gets people to say what they really feel, because they somehow, like, the foreign character disarms them, and then he pretends that he agrees with them, you know, because he's foreign and he can be like, I don't know, but he's like, he got the guy to admit that that slavery wasn't that bad, you know, things like that. And that's what they really think. Like I said, if these people, that's why they're trying to Where did Borat go? He made the second movie, and that was it. It got so big that it couldn't do it. Like that was if you didn't see Borat 2, that was part of the gag. Was Borat himself was so famous that he couldn't be Borat anymore. So Borat had to wear disguises. So now it was like two disguises at the same time. he was Borat, but then he was wearing like another costume, like a farmer or something. It's like, it was pretty funny. I gotta admit, it was pretty good. It wasn't as good as the first Borat, but it was pretty good. But that's the genius of that character, because I said he breaks people down and gets them to admit things that they wouldn't admit if, like I said, if you could get half of these people, the Heritage Foundation for sure, because like I told you, you can look the history of the Heritage Foundation. The Heritage Foundation is directly stemmed from the Confederacy after the Civil War. Most of the people that run the Heritage Foundation are descendants of those people. And like I said before, it's only, 150 years ago or something. It's not that far away. It's like 2 or 3 generations of people. Those kinds of feelings don't just go away, and they're passed on from, parents to their children to their children. And that's where, when you see them pictures of people with their little kids dressed up in the Klan hood. What do you want to know about it? Like I said, they've always been behind the scenes in the most extreme right-wing circles, and they have a lot of money. So they're able to buy politicians, Mitch McConnell's been hanging with the Heritage Foundation most of his career. Like, they put a lot of these people in the Congress. I don't know. The thing is, I don't know. It's kind of kidding. Right? It's like, I don't really want to know more about it. They're fucking the Ku Klux Klan, basically. That's all you need to know. It's like they just took the hoods off and came out of the closet. What I want to know is when we passed the Rubicon of, when they decided to go full on fascist. And like I said, I think it was Barack Obama. Like, there was a black president. Oh my God! Black president, we can't have that. I mean, well, we really are losing, like, the numbers battle. Like, yeah, Yes. So, well, this whole area. That's one of the myths that Missouri's the same way. You live there, Dan. You know the history of Missouri. It's very Confederate. Just the James gang were Confederates. That's why they kept robbing banks. And they were robbing northern banks on purpose, because they were trying to get back at the Yankees. Because they feel like they got fucked over, Also meth. Yeah, meth came later. But I'm saying, the history of Missouri. Missouri wanted to be a slave state. That was one of the things that started the Civil War, was all these new states coming into the Union, and would they be slave or would they be free? And people were like, hey, we got to solve this question, or else slavery is going to spread all the way across the United States. And once that happens, it'll be hard to get rid of it. So they started trying to get rid of it in the Congress, and that's what started. And then John Brown was like, you guys are taking too long. And he started killing a bunch of people. Of course, they got him and killed him, but he lit the fire,
Powering off.
Okay. The spear. Yeah, Julian says, yeah, after roasted Trump at the correspondence dinner. You're right. Well, Trump, he wasn't really even in politics at that point. A lot of people say that's what drove him into the politics, was he got so pissed off Then he was like, well, fuck it, I'm getting in. He started saying that he wasn't. Yeah, Dan says we have one of the best histories of slavery versus realism between our two states. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because Kentucky's a weird state because it's a border state, which makes it like half and half. You know, the southern half by Tennessee was totally fucking, Confederates. Dan Rose, yeah, John Brown. Daniele has a whole show about John Brown. You should listen to it. Very interesting. Yeah, he was like, they're taking too long to get rid of slavery, and he didn't think they would do it. And he said the only way it's going to happen is civil war. And so he took matters into his own hands. And he died for it. And Danielle has a story where the guy was, at the end, this guy was saying, hey, you can escape. We'll get out of here. And he was like, no. He knew that he needed to be executed to be martyr. And that would start the war. And he was willing to die, for it. And he did. But here we are talking about him, as I said. Yes, that's what I'm saying about Kentucky. It's split. It's the northern part is more, you would say, tolerant. But even here, like right by Cincinnati, there's still racists all over the fucking place. I grew up where the N-word around here was like an adjective that people would use all the fucking time. Right in front of black people, too. And the black people ain't gonna say nothing, like. It's gotten a little bit different nowadays because Sparta, Illinois. Right, there's a Sparta. There's a Sparta everywhere. I've driven around this country. There's towns in every state that have the same names. Because that's what happens. People lead a wagon trade, they start a town, and then the guy with the wagon would be like, well, we're going to move on. And you move down to the next state, start a town, and you just call it the same thing. You drive around the country, I said, they all got fucking the same names in towns all over the place. There's a Sparta everywhere. There's also towns that have weird fucking names, like, there's a town in Pennsylvania called Blue Ball. Blue Ball, Pennsylvania. No one gets laid. But yeah. Well, Sparta is Greek, Spartans! Everything, that's what's weird, is, all of Western civilization descended from Greece and Rome. So even now, there's traces of that everywhere. Cincinnati was named after Cincinnatus. You go down to the park, there's a statue and everything. It's a Roman dude. Like this thousands of years ago, like their fingerprints are still all over everything. But you read Roman history, like, man, what's fucked up, and then you look around us and you're like, man, this is fucked up. I don't think mankind's gonna get their act together anytime soon. That's why I don't really care anymore about. I talk about it a lot. I have a show. I think people should be informed. But the more it goes, the more I'm just like, man, I'm just kind of observing, and I don't think there's much hope for us. You want to have hope. Maybe I'm just getting old. I'm turning into a pessimist. Like I've always been an optimist, and I've always been like, oh, we can change things, and if just enough people made, art that spoke to people and like awaken people to what's really going on, we could get together and create a better world. But like that's not really how it works, is it? Like, The very fact that people can sit and watch these people lie to them demonstrably. Like today. She says, I don't know who that guy is. He's a ranking member of the Immigration Committee in the Senate. You think they never had meetings? You never think they never fucking spoke? And then she says, he did not identify himself. And like, you just play the tape, and he's like, I'm a U.S. Senator. And they're like pushing him out. He's like, I'm Senator Padilla, and I just want to... They push him out into the hallway. It's like, he's totally identifying himself. But they just go, he didn't identify himself. It's like, look at the tape. It's, oh, don't believe your lying eyes. It's like, and you go, just, again, immediately, she ran to Fox to tell that story. And do you think the people on Fox were like, well, he is kind of identifying himself in the video? No. They sit there and they just shake their head and let them say whatever the fuck they want to say. Because it's not news, it's propaganda. That's why they run right there. She didn't go on any other fucking channels where they might ask her questions. She went straight to Fox and tell the story, what they want to say. And then the Congress people come out and say, oh, it's his fault. He should be censured. For what? For trying to ask the question? He said he's been trying to get information from them and they haven't been forthcoming. So he's like, hey, they're right there. I'll just go ask her directly. No, she didn't want him asking questions in front of a camera. Because she doesn't really have the answers. Because all she is a figure, she's an actor in a reality show. He's like, go out there and act tough. Put on a costume. Do a bunch of videos of yourself, like, riding around in a tank and on a horse. And whatever the fuck they're doing. On a plane, Go down to Seacott prison. Stand in front of the gang members. Which, of course, she stands in front of the El Salvadorian gang members that dude put into prison. Because the people that they put into prison are just regular people. Not nearly as intimidating. And people just take it. People just go, okay. Like, you can't see he's lying to you. They're lying to you. Like, nope. I want lower taxes. Julia says The Heat of the Night, Portier and Rod Steiger was filmed in my town. It's a classic movie. Yes. Rain Man was filmed here, and the toothpick scene was filmed in Newport at a restaurant called Pompilio's. And if you go there now, there's still a sign up, and it's still on the menu. Like, well, Rain Man was filmed here 30 years ago. You still riding that? Yep. When we dropped the toothpick. You're like, nah, you don't gotta drop the toothpick. I believe you. It's like, there's pictures of them, Tom Cruise and Dustin Hoffman. Yes, Milan. That's that movie Hoosiers. Milan, Indiana. Questel says, Milan, Indiana has some museum for some basketball game the school won like 60 years ago. Yeah, Hoosiers. It's a movie. If you make a movie. You go to these towns in Indiana and there'll be like a sign, when you're driving in, it'll be like, Gomer Pyle was born here. Like, welcome to VV, Indiana. It's like, Jim Neighbors was born here. Gomer Pyle. It's like, in 1937. You know what I'm saying? Like, what does that have to do with anything? What? You've never seen it? Well, it's a classic. It's got Gene Hackman in it. They thought they could never win a championship. It's a little podunk town. It's Indiana. Yeah, Metamora. That's where my dad has property, like 5 or 10 miles away from there. No, it wasn't Paul Newman. It's Gene Hackman. And Dennis Hopper's in it, too. And Gene Hackman plays the coach. I think it won some, like, either he won an Oscar or somebody won an Oscar for that movie. It was up for Best Picture. I might have won Best Picture. I don't know, I have to look it up. There were some Oscars involved. It's a good movie. Yeah, she just passed away. God bless his soul. I don't know why I say that. I'm an atheist, but I just think, see what I mean? You grow up in the church, can't stop. It's just like when someone sneezes, like, you gotta say, bless you. You know, it's like, bless you. It's like, because that's the polite thing to say, but it's like, I'm really not religious. Like, who the fuck's blessing you? I don't know. May whatever invisible man you believe in. Bless you. I just say it because it's just polite. And I was raised to be polite. I'm old-fashioned. I was going out with this girl there, and I opened the door, you know. And she looked at me, and I went inside, and I grabbed the other door, opened up. She looked at me, and I was like, I'm sorry, I'm old-fashioned. Like, I can't help myself. I was taught to be polite in that manner. And the man should open the door for a woman. I mean, if you're on a date or something, Jesus Christ. Yeah, it's on the Pluto. You should watch it. It's a good movie. I mean, of course, it's about a basketball coach and a basketball team. But and you know the outcome. I mean, because you've been to the museum. It's like, there ain't gonna be no surprises. Violin takes the championship. Spoiler alert. Dude, Gene Hackman's one of the greatest actors of all time. What are you talking about? He was in Enemy of the State. He's been in fucking 1,000 movies, and most of them are great. He's in The French Connection. He was in Unforgiven. He's in all kinds. He was in Young Frankenstein, but not for a long time, but for a minute. He was Lex Luthor in the original Superman movie. He's been in 1,000 movies. And there's so many I'm forgetting. Yeah, I said The French Connection. He's won multiple Oscars. He's in Mississippi Burning. Gene Hackman was a great actor, man. Not 52 minutes. You know, I don't know what to say, like I said, except for, like I said before, it's like you can't let all this stuff take over your life, or you'll become an extremist. So you can't do that. I've gotten really good at disconnecting from it emotionally. No, that's what I said. Spoiler alert. Well, no, the spoiler alert is there's a museum in her town. It's about the Milan championship team. So of course she knows they win the game. It's like watching Rocky and still thinking he could lose. It's like, it's Rocky 7. He can lose this time. It's like, I mean, occasionally he does lose it so he can win again in the end. You know, but you know, he's always going to win. It's like it's not really suspenseful. That's why I was saying it. That's why Game of Thrones broke the mold. That's why it was a great TV show. Because it was the first show where they just kill off a main character, you know. It's like my mom watches Law and Order all the time, right? SVU. And that chick, what's her name? Mariska Hargitay or whatever her name is. They always got her like kidnapped and like some psycho's got her. It's like making her play Russian roulette and shit. And you're like watching it and you're like, come on, man. She's not going to blow her fucking head off. It's not going to happen. It's like this show's been on for 15 years. She's going to get out of this somehow, you know. There's no suspense, you know. The Game of Thrones is like, hey, man, they kill off everybody on this show. season, they had Sean Bean as the main character, and at the end of the fucking season, they chopped his head off. And that was, shocking because, fuck, they never do that. They killed the main character. Like, what are they going to do season 2? The main character's gone. Oh, Juliet. Now, I'm not saying you should run out and watch Game of Thrones. I mean, it is a great show, but you gotta like fantasy shit. But it is a great show, and it's not just fantasy; it's multi-layered. But my point being, they broke the mold of like a main character could die at any time. So therefore, when you're watching it, there really is suspense because fuck, is he gonna get killed? I don't know. They killed this guy last week, and they killed that. That same thing that Pedro Pascal started his career on Game of Thrones, or that was, I mean, I don't think he started his career there, but that was his big break. That's the first time I ever saw him. And he didn't last half a season. They killed him. And he went on to have it, one of the biggest careers of anybody that there is no comparison. He's eclipsed everyone that's on that show as far as his career goes. And fuckers and everything now. It's like, how does Pedro Pascal, when does he sleep? He's in 5 movies and 6 TV shows. It's like, you're like, damn, this guy fucking, he's everywhere. He was great too. When he came in on Game of Thrones, like, who is that guy? He's pretty good. And then you got to like his character and kill him. It's like, that's my point. Yeah, Walking Dead, but that was after Game of Thrones when they did that. But yeah, Walking Dead did it too by killing off. My dad stopped watching it because that was his favorite character. Glenn, my dad's always like, oh, they killed Glenn. I fucking turn it off. He doesn't understand. Like, that's what makes the show great. I said, when there's real suspense and you don't know, there's some, that the main character's gonna get out. It's like MacGyver. Remember MacGyver? Like, MacGyver's gonna find a fucking rubber band and a paper clip, and he's gonna figure out a way to open this vault. They got him locked in somehow with a piece of gum, and he's gonna get out. You always just knew that. Like, that was the formula of TV shows. Game of Thrones broke that mold by killing off main characters all the time, and so then when you were watching it, you didn't know who was gonna die and who wasn't. Breaking Bad wasn't like that. What made Breaking Bad different was to me is that it felt like a movie. It didn't feel like a TV show. It was the way it was structured and the way it was shot made it feel like like it's a movie. They didn't kill off everybody all the time. I mean, towards the end they started killing people off because the show's didn't end. But when during the show, it's like, it's not really a lot of suspense. Like, Heisenberg gets kidnapped by the cartel. Well, they're not gonna kill him, It's like, they're just gonna hold him captive and put him in a basement. Yes, Breaking Bad was so well done. Yes, it's well written. Like I said, it's well shot. In the way, like I said, just the way it was structured, made it feel like a movie. And the way they switched from, like, they do black and white and like different kinds of shots, and how they would start at the end. I thought that was pretty cool. A lot of times an episode would start at the end, and then there'd be like a minute of the end of the episode, and then it would go, and you'd watch the whole episode, but then at the end it would get back to the beginning, and tie it all together. Like, that was pretty cool. The old black and white Charlie Chan. Julius. Man, you guys are punching. I hear that Landman is good, Questella, but I haven't seen it. But I love Billy Bob Thornton, and everything he does is pretty good. He's definitely a really good actor. So Julia's sitting around watching PBS, apparently. Sherlock Holmes and Agatha Christie's Poirot. Not an occasional antique roadshow. Pop in on that channel. But that's what I'm talking about. See, we spent a lot of time talking about all that shit, and now I said, you got to remember that you're still alive and life is worth living, you know, and you just got to look around. Speaking of Game of Thrones, I will say this. House of the Dragon came out, and it was pretty good. And I was like, oh, I read all of the Game of Thrones books. But this is like taken from another book. It's called Fire and Blood. So I was like, man, I want to read this book. But it's not like a regular book. It's written like a history book. It's hard to read. It's not like a regular book where it's a story and there's people talking and, you know. It's like reading a history book. It's kind of like the Silmarillion that Tolkien wrote, which is like the history of the elves, which is a really good book, but at the same time it's just hard to read because it's all like, oh, this happened and that happened and this king, he had this wife, and, you know, and it's a lot of not a lot of like action. It's just like this happened and that happened and this happened. But anyway, I'm reading it and I'm like, he's like, oh, this guy married his sister. Like, damn, has George R.R. Martin written any book that someone didn't fuck their sister? It's like, what is this guy's obsession? Every single book, it's like somebody's banging their sister. You're like, dude, did he have a hot sister that he wanted to fuck? I mean, what is going on with this guy? He's very, very fond of incest. It's like, because it is a central role in almost all of his fucking books. And like, what the hell is going on? Anyway, again, I want to apologize to you for the other day. I believe that the problem is solved now. And as you can see, if I turn on the light, there's more light. The camera doesn't get all wonky. You can go back and forth. So I will also turn on more light going forward. And anyway, I love you guys. You guys are my loyal fucking followers, and I appreciate it. And I'm gonna get out of here. I'll be back on Saturday at 6 o'clock. I am Bruce Leonard. This is Bruce Leonard Leans Left. While it's still legal. Thank you. Good night. Yes, I got kicked off the internet, Questel. Disconnected. Thank you guys. Good night.